Have you ever wondered what it's like to be haunted by something you can't see? Let's take a journey with Sam, an average guy living a not-so-average life. Picture an unremarkable house on a quiet street. That's where Sam resides, oblivious to the peculiar happenings beginning to stir within his own four walls. An air of unease blankets the place, a chill that's more than just winter's touch. Shadows seem darker, silence is deeper. Little did Sam know, his life was about to take a terrifying turn. Sam's daily routine was about to be broken by an unseen presence. Sam, a creature of habit, had his world turned upside down when the familiar became alien. The mundane became eerie. His usual quiet abode started echoing with strange noises. Objects he'd placed meticulously began shifting on their own, creating an uncanny symphony of chaos. The coffee mug he'd left on the table was found in the refrigerator. The books he'd arranged by size were jumbled up, as if touched by invisible hands. Then came the whispers, soft as a sigh, yet chilling to the bone. They would creep into the silence of the night, weaving a web of fear that Sam couldn't shake off. The whispers were indecipherable, yet carried a tone of malice that was unmistakable. They seemed to be everywhere, yet nowhere, as if the very walls of his home were conspiring against him. But it wasn't just the whispers or the moving objects that unsettled Sam. It was the feeling of being watched, an unshakable sense of an unseen entity lurking in the shadows. It was as if eyes were following him, studying his every move, waiting for the right moment to strike. His once comforting home now felt like a labyrinth of dread, where every corner could conceal a horror unknown. This unseen presence seemed to feed on his fear, growing stronger with each passing day. The whispers grew louder, the movements more frantic, and the feeling of being watched became so intense it was as if a cold breath was constantly on the back of his neck. Every creak of the floor, every flicker of the light, every gust of wind through the window, all seemed to be manipulated by this unseen presence. Sam's home was no longer his sanctuary, but a haunted house where he was the unwilling guest, trapped in a chilling tale of horror that was far from over. Sam was not alone, and whatever was with him, it was not friendly. Driven to the edge, Sam decided to find answers. With a steely resolve and a heart pounding in his chest, he plunged headfirst into the chilling world of the unknown. Our protagonist, Sam, was no longer content to be a passive victim of the unseen. Instead, he chose to take up the mantle of the seeker, the explorer, the detective of his own life's horror story. Each page he turned in his dusty, ancient books on hauntings whispered secrets of the past. The faded ink told tales of spirits and entities that lurked in the shadows, their motives as enigmatic as their existence. With each word he read, Sam could feel an icy shiver running down his spine, a chilling confirmation of the unseen presence that made itself known in his life. But books weren't enough. Sam sought counsel with mediums, those who claimed to have a foot in both worlds. Their eyes, cloudy with the knowledge of the unseen, peered into Sam's soul, their whispers echoing in his mind, hinting at the presence that haunted him. Yet, they could not provide the answers he sought. Determined, Sam decided to take matters into his own hands. He attempted to communicate with the entity himself. With trembling hands and a voice barely above a whisper, he called out to the unseen, inviting it to speak, to reveal its purpose. The silence that followed was deafening. His plea met with nothing but the sound of his own heartbeat echoing in his ears. Fear began to gnaw at him, growing with each unanswered question. His once cozy home now felt like a labyrinth of shadows, each corner hiding an unseen terror. His nights were filled with dread, each creak of the house a reminder of the invisible presence that refused to reveal itself. But the more Sam searched, the more elusive his answers became. His desperation grew, the need for answers consuming him, haunting him more than the unseen entity itself. The search was far from over, but Sam was beginning to realize that some questions may be better left unanswered. In his quest for answers, Sam stumbled upon a chilling truth. A truth that would make anyone's blood run cold. A truth that would make the bravest of souls shudder. Sam's house, his beloved sanctuary, was built on hallowed ground, a forgotten cemetery, a resting place for the departed. Now imagine for a moment the implications of such a revelation. Imagine discovering that your home, your safe haven, was constructed on top of a graveyard that had been lost to time. No wonder the strange happenings, the unexplainable occurrences, the haunting whispers in the still of the night. They weren't figments of his imagination. They weren't tricks played by his mind. They were real as the ground beneath his feet, as real as the spirits that were denied their eternal rest. The house was not just an ordinary home. It was a vessel, a bridge between our world and the spectral realm, a conduit for those souls who were wrongfully disturbed from their eternal slumber. Each creak of the floor, each whisper in the wind, each chill that ran down Sam's spine was a plea, a cry for acknowledgement, a demand for recognition. You see, this wasn't just a story about a haunted house. It was a tale of forgotten souls, of lives once lived and abruptly ended, of spirits trapped in an eternal limbo. The strange activities weren't just random acts of a malevolent force. They were desperate attempts by these spirits to communicate, to tell their stories, to remind the living of their existence. Sam's house was more than a home. It was a monument to the past, a testament to those who were there before him, a beacon for those lost souls seeking respite. It was a chilling reminder that even in death, the departed long for recognition, for respect, for peace. Sam was living atop a forgotten graveyard, and the spirits were not at rest. A chilling truth indeed, a truth that would forever change Sam's perception of his home, and perhaps of life itself. With the truth in his hands, Sam decided to confront the unseen entity. His heart pounded in his chest as he stepped into the chilling darkness. The air was thick with an otherworldly energy, a tangible, suffocating presence that made the hairs on the back of his neck stand on end. This was it, the moment he'd been dreading, and yet he was here, determined to face whatever lurked in the shadows. Sam was no stranger to fear, but this was different. This entity, this unseen presence, was something far beyond the realm of his understanding. And yet, he knew he had to face it. It was a confrontation of wills, a battle of courage against the unknown. His voice trembled slightly as he called out to the spirits. "I know you're here," he said, his words echoing in the eerie silence. "I know what happened to you. I know your pain." He paused, swallowing hard before continuing. "I promise to help you find peace." The words hung heavy in the air, a solemn vow spoken to the whispering wind. The room seemed to grow colder, the darkness more profound. A shiver ran down Sam's spine as he felt a sudden shift in the atmosphere. It was as if the very walls were closing in on him, the unseen entity drawing nearer, listening, considering his words. The tension was palpable, each second stretching into an eternity as Sam stood his ground, his breath held in anticipation. He could feel the entity's presence, a swirling vortex of emotions, anger, pain, confusion, all swirling around him like a violent storm. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, it ended. The oppressive weight lifted, the chilling cold replaced by a warm, comforting glow. The entity, it seemed, had accepted his offer, his promise to help it find peace. And then there was silence. The confrontation was over, the final battle won. But the journey was far from over. For Sam knew that the hardest part was yet to come, fulfilling his promise to the unseen entity. He had won the battle, but the war was far from over. In the silence, Sam felt a sense of relief. An eerie calm had fallen over the house. The chilling whispers, the unsettling shadows, all had ceased after his brave confrontation. The days of living in perpetual fear were over. Life began to regain a sense of normalcy. The sun seemed brighter, the nights less daunting. The strange occurrences had stopped, leaving behind only their chilling memories. A hopeful resolution had finally arrived. Sam had faced the unseen and had come out the other side, forever changed.